Hey everyone, welcome back to the Poplar Report. We got another Watchmen update for you. Hopefully you guys are doing all right this Sunday morning. The Chinese are out there targeting Japanese fighter jets with their targeting radar, creating an international incident. And the U.S. aircraft carrier based in the Caribbean finishes its last shore leave before things get spicy in Venezuela. Cartels in Mexico getting desperate and using ISIS tactics against the police there. Danger of violence spilling over into the U.S. We'll talk about that. Peace talks still appear to be serious and urgent in Eastern Europe, contrary to what the mainstream media seems to be pushing. I don't know why they're doing that, but they have an agenda somewhere. Twitter hitting back at European censorship, and truck drivers across the United States being detained for not having licenses or improper licenses as the states are cracking down on their own. A way to deal with scam callers and telemarketers on this episode, and a major issue with cat food. We got that and a whole lot more. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and this is the most straight to the point daily news update on YouTube, plus your updates. If you have something to share, make sure you use that word update. We do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. They help people with retirement accounts like you to get out of stocks and bonds. If you're done with that and you want to get into something safer, if you've been putting that off, now is a perfect time to do that because they are giving out a free book, The Bible and Gold. If you want your free book and you want to chat with them real briefly about what that might look like for your retirement account, this is a perfect time. Check the pinned comment out down below. There'll be a link at the end of the video. All right, Japan has lodged a formal diplomatic complaint against China following two separate incidences on Saturday in which a J-15 carrier-based multi-role fighter from the Japanese aircraft carrier Liaoning, something like that. They apparently locked their fire control radar onto Japanese F-15s that were scrambled against possible airspace violations by China. So this is off the island of Okinawa, where U.S. Marines are stationed. That is a big deal in southern Japan. The Chinese are starting to basically do to other countries what the United States has done to everyone for quite some time. Going around, flying our little jets around, harassing random countries, and when they come out there, act all offended that you're being harassed by their fighter jets, next to their country. So the Chinese have learned well, it looks like. All right, officials from the Trump administration have told European diplomats during a meeting this week in Washington that they expect Europe, this is crazy, to take over the majority of NATO's conventional defense capabilities in Europe, including intelligence and long-range missiles. And this all has to happen by 2027. Stating that if they do not meet the deadline, the United States may halt its participation in some of the defense coordination mechanisms of NATO. That's code for we might start pulling out of NATO if you guys don't start pulling your weight. Because NATO exists to protect Europe. It doesn't exist to protect the United States. Let's just be frank about it. And at what point is this actually beneficial to the United States? How about we just back out of it and let the Europeans handle things on their own? If the European Union can't handle Russia by themselves, well, maybe they should fix that. Maybe they should figure that out. Because, quite frankly, Russia has a much smaller GDP than Europe and actually has a smaller population than Europe. The European Union should be able to stand on its own. It's been freeloading off the U.S. military for quite some time. And there's no reason why U.S. troops need to protect Europe from Europe. Anyway, after a 5-day port visit on the island of St. Thomas, which must have been great for the, I want to say soldiers, but let's just say sailors, of the USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier. After the 5 days, it was spotted departing this morning from Frenchman's Cove. So it took a nice long port stop to get the sailors out and let them run wild a little bit. I don't know if they still do that in today's Navy, but I don't know if they're allowed to do anything. Anyway, they are back on their ship and they are out at sea doing what they're going to be doing. And they're going to be being continued deployed for the Operation Southern Spear. And one can just imagine that this was the last hurrah before the spicy business happens in Venezuela. The commanders absolutely know a timeline. So even though it may be the United States reacting to something that Venezuela does, so much of history is, here's the plan, let's get it all ready to go. Okay, now let's find a reason why we're going to fight them. I mean, that's just how history works. I know history books are like, oh, this horrible thing happened, and so therefore, that's why the United States joined the war, World War I or World War II. Well, I mean, the United States was always right on the verge of joining World War I and World War II. They needed some kind of reason to join, but Pearl Harbor kind of hit it a little differently. Though if you look into the history, you have to ask yourself the question of whether it was allowed to happen. All of United States' Navy's most critical assets happen to be at sea. While it may be that God was looking out for us, it may also have been that the U.S. military command and intelligence had moved those assets out of the way just before the attack. Anyway, because they knew it was coming. Anyway, an apparent suicide bomber drove a vehicle full of explosives towards a community police station in western Mexico, then set it off. This ended the person as well as 2 other victims and injuring 10 others. Needless to say, this is something we haven't seen in Mexico in a bit. And it's certainly not a welcome thing to be seeing in a country right on the border of the United States. So when President Trump says that the cartels run Mexico, this is the kind of stuff he's talking about. It's like a Taliban insurgency in the country right next door. I know the United States is used to fighting the bad guys way on the other side of the world, but these are bad guys right on America's doorstep, and it should be very concerning. Any more of these type of incidents, and you may see President Trump say, I don't care what President Scheinbaum says, U.S. troops are going to go into Mexico and start doing business, because that cannot be allowed. It cannot be allowed for the Mexican people to suffer like that, who are our literal neighbors. And it should not be allowed to happen. That could pose an imminent threat to the security of the United States. Because it does. It does. All right. Twitter, or X, has terminated the ad account of the European Commission, which is chef's kiss. Yes. All right. So this was kind of posted out there just to give you an idea of what's going on. You logged into your dormant ad account to take advantage of an exploit in our ad composer. So the European Union went into their dormant ad account and decided to play a little game, to post a link that deceives users into thinking it's a video to artificially increase your reach. As you may be aware, X or Twitter believes everyone should have an equal voice on our platform. However, it seems you believe that the rules should not apply to your account. Your ad account has been terminated. So they went after Elon Musk because the blue check marks were a little too confusing to some Europeans. I don't know what European, maybe the Polish. Maybe the Polish couldn't figure it out. I don't know. But the European Union is like, that's worth $140 million because some people can't figure out the blue check marks, and we don't like that. In fact, what it was really about was that Elon Musk refused a secret deal to silence European Union opposition quietly without commenting on it. Anyway, Elon Musk hit back and decided to cancel their ad account. There's no reason why they should be advertising on a platform that they are stealing money from. Anyway, Russia has just held very serious 5-hour talks with the U.S. delegation in Moscow. This is the mainstream media is out there saying that the peace talks are dead. 5-hour talks with the U.S. delegation in Moscow. They went through each and every of the 28 points of the deal in detail. Now, this is according to President Putin in his interview in India, and that's why it took so long. Those guys met with the Ukrainian delegation, the U.S. Folks, with the Ukrainian delegation in Miami the next day to see what their reaction to Putin's demands are. Coming out today that Putin has dug his heels in on the Donbass, which is, I mean, that's to be expected. And Witkoff and Kushner are pushing both Putin and Zelensky to find some middle ground. That's how peace talks work, right? I mean, that sounds like the process is moving forward. They're trying to get as much as they can out of the deal. Both sides, go figure. It's a negotiation, a very high-stakes negotiation, but it seems like both sides are moving forward, whether they want to or not. Anyway, just to give you a little spice of what mainstream media seems to be saying out there, there's this article from July 8th. Here's the title. After 20,000 losses, Russia is now functionally out of armored vehicles. 41 months into its wide war on Ukraine, the Russians no longer fight under armor, can fight under armor on a meaningful scale. Here's a mainstream media article that slipped through the cracks just a couple days ago. Russia has more armored vehicles now than in 2022. Wait, what? Isn't that the opposite of what was just said? Yes, Russia has lost a lot of armored vehicles, but the sheer size of its Cold War stockpile means it can replace every loss. That was just a few days ago. So what's going on here? Despite losing as many as 16,000 vehicles, that's a little different than 20,000, right? I mean, that's 4,000 vehicles off. I mean, that's like as many vehicles as like the French and German military put together, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, the Russians have lost maybe about 16,000 vehicles in Ukraine. But the Russians have more than compensated for those losses by pulling nearly 13,000 old vehicles out of long-term storage and complementing these older vehicles with another 4,000 brand new vehicles. The upshot is that the Russians have had about 20,000 vehicles in February 2022, and now, 45 months later, have 21,000. So yes, some of these vehicles are older, but here's the fact. They produced 4,000 new armored vehicles, and that production keeps getting ramped up. How many armored vehicles do you think the United States can produce in a year? A lot less than that. A lot less than that. All of Europe, all of NATO put together cannot manufacture armored vehicles like that. This is turning into a war of manufacturing, and the United States just can't keep up. That's the fact. We can't produce artillery shells fast enough. We can't produce all of NATO, all of Europe, and the United States cannot produce enough artillery shells, including Japan, Korea, everyone put together can't keep up with Russia. That's scary. And when you start looking at drones, you're also going to see that we're getting blown out of the water in production there too. All right, August Blue says, since October, 82 truck drivers passing through Alabama have been detained by ICE due to questionable driver's licenses. 12 of those didn't have driver's licenses at all. That's kind of scary. A big rig truck driver coming through the state of Alabama with no license whatsoever. Yikes. And other states are doing the exact same thing and detaining people right and left. Should be. Take the unsafe drivers and unlicensed drivers off the road, please. Gray Baller says JP Morgan, this is JP Morgan Chase, just moved a huge amount of silver at the LBMA, that's the London Metals Exchange, from registered, as in for sale, to allocated. So they didn't actually move it, but they just kind of changed the category. They just took the for sale sign down and just kind of said, we're not selling it. This is sellable quality, but not for sale. But hey, what do they know? This is what we're seeing out there in the silver market. This is what we're seeing out there in the gold market. Gold and silver are drying up. The supplies are disappearing. We're about to see a massive short squeeze like we haven't seen since GameStop. I know, it's hard to imagine that, but with the amount of shorts out there in the market, they're absolutely underwater. We're talking many billions of dollars worth of losses that these banks are facing. Cochran says, please look online at the Amish stores. When I read this one, I laughed out loud. My wife was just like, what is going on over there? I don't normally think of the Amish being online, but apparently they ship everywhere. Keep it in the USA. So if you're not near the Amish and you want Amish quality, apparently they're online. They have websites and stuff so that they're selling their stuff online. So look up Amish companies and you may be able to find high quality goods that can ship directly to you. Check it out. All right, R says, I'm at an air base in the south of the U.S. I've noticed most of the reservists here have a thick variety of African or Asian accents, Chinese and Vietnamese mostly. The U.S. military is not what it once was. They have been pushing diversity so much, and the kind of people in the United States that are going after these jobs in the U.S. military have changed dramatically. There's a lot less patriotic folk in the military, a lot more people trying to get their citizenship, a lot of people trying to get jobs in there. All right. Dr. Holistic Hippie says, my daughter and I were in Jackson, Mississippi area, Flowood and Madison areas. This was Thursday and Friday of this past week. I was supremely taken aback by the lack of shoppers in major stores. We were also seated immediately at a popular restaurant where in the past had at least a 20-minute wait. This close to Christmas last year, shoppers were dodging crowded aisles and elbows. Not this year. Diane says, we bought fresh tomatoes on the vine from our local grocery store. Good enough. There were 6 tomatoes. We used 2 for our salad, put the other 4 on the counter in our fruit and vegetable bowl. That was 3+ weeks ago. Today we threw them out. 3 were perfect and 1 had a small spot on it. There's no way these tomatoes should be looking perfect after 3 weeks plus sitting on the kitchen shelf. What are they selling and feeding us? My husband and I will not buy fresh tomatoes and we'll have to go without until the summer when we pick our own from the garden. We live in Michigan, so that will be a long wait, but it's better than eating whatever is on these tomatoes. Watch what you buy. No wonder Americans have been getting so much cancer and so sick. Yeah. Flyer Patty says, yes, I have got the spam calls stopped. Okay, let's hear it. Let's hear it. All right, Apple phones have a way for me to block any call that is not in my address book of the phone. They have to say who they are and what they want, and then I can make a determination if I want to pick up the call or not. But they have to leave a message. Now, I've only gotten 1 in the last 30 days that I accidentally picked up. Working the best I've ever seen, and Apple did it. Praise the Lord. All right, so if you got an Apple product out there, maybe you can figure that out too. Look it up, get on Google, or ask some AI or something like that to tell you how to do it, right? Karen says, good morning, Steve and Mrs. Presley Poplar. Thank you very much. I agree. Keep and start collecting DVDs, and DVDs are nice to share with friends and family. I've collected DVDs since they first came out and have hundreds of them. Me too. DVDs make great Christmas gifts, Blu-ray players. I keep mine under climate control and tote boxes to keep them clean. Now here's the kicker. I can't tell you how many times my husband wanted to get rid of my DVDs. But who wants to watch a movie when the grid is down? My husband. That's right. If you got battery backup, I've done this before too. Power was out and I had a battery pack and I just plugged the TV in and I plugged the DVD player in and I sat there and watched a movie, which is a really relaxing thing to do when the power's out. Stealthy Nomadica says, for the last 3 months or so, my cat has been refusing to eat the solids of any cat food I buy him. He just licks all the gravy off of it and leaves the rest. I've tried all the best brands, and I was literally it was literally trashing my budget. A 3-ounce can of wet cat food runs about $2.70. That's insane. A bunch of other folks having similar reports, so that's why I'm passing this one on. I have been taking unopened cans back and getting my money back, trying to get different brands. I think they are using some kind of wonky meat, though. I'm going to start making his food with meats I will buy for myself and a good multivitamin and multi-mineral formula, including taurine. Cats need that, right? I have signed up for some training to learn how to make my own cat food at home and exploring biologically appropriate raw food diets, such as the one offered by Jess Catacles. It'll probably end up costing me way less in the long run. Yeah, and you can probably find some online free resources on YouTube or elsewhere. That's a great way to go about it, is doing it yourself, because canned cat food is expensive and it's not good. Crazy. That's the story with everything, it seems like these days. All right, friends, if you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold Group, you can click on that link right there. If you want to get your free book, The Bible and Gold, check out the pinned comment down below, and that's free, no obligations there. And if you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.